Arsenal have a midfield crisis, or do they? How can they fix that? The international break has not been kind to a lot of teams. Martin Odegaard injured last night, Ricardo Calafiori, and of course, Declan Rice is suspended for the North London derby with Mikel Merino out with a shoulder injury. How could Arsenal line up? It's been a couple of days. We've enjoyed a well-deserved rest. The batteries have been recharged, and the North London derby is only 5 days away. And it's a massive week for Arsenal. Huge, huge week from Sunday. They play Spurs away, in which a game now is looking incredibly difficult. Atalanta on the Thursday, and then a week after the North London derby, Manchester City away. And Arsenal have kind of felt hard done by since the Brighton game. They've gone into the international break and they've lost a couple of players due to injury. So we're going to break that down. We're going to talk about the next 3 games. We're going to talk about how Arsenal could set up against Tottenham. If you're new to the channel, please do go down, hit that subscribe button. The road to 25,000 subscribers is well and truly on. We are less than 700 away from 23,000. And if you are enjoying the content, please do go down and hit that subscribe button. Now, Martin Odegaard, big breaking news last night that he got injured in the Nations League game. I'm not a fan of these international breaks. I'm going to be brutally honest. I don't think we should have an international break, 3 games into the season, shortly after the 2 major tournaments in the summer on the Copa America and the Euros. But it is what it is. I don't think anyone's really a fan of it. And this is one of the big reasons. Odegaard returns to London on crutches to England to be assessed by Arsenal. Now, you got to feel for Odegaard. I mean, look, he's on crutches. He's got no shoe on. You got to feel for Odegaard. How will Arsenal set up against Tottenham? Because I'm going to be brutally honest. If Manchester City win at the weekend, which at present, the form they're in, the goals they're scoring, you would expect them to comfortably put 4, 5, 3 goals past Brentford. Then they face Inter Milan on the Wednesday. So they've got an extra day's rest over Arsenal. Plus they play at home, whereas Arsenal go away on the Thursday to Atalanta. So it kind of puts Manchester City huge favourites for that match. Plus, the North London derby, Arteta will have to rotate on the Champions League game. Now, I've put together a potential lineup in which I think Arsenal could set up in. Let me know your thoughts down below. I've gone Raya in goal, obviously. The back 4 picks itself. Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, Timber. And then I've put 2 or 3 players in there, which I think the way this isn't, I'm not saying this is Arsenal's best team, but I'm looking at the way we play in Tottenham. We are very aggressive with our press. We are very aggressive with possession. Now, Arsenal, the players I've chosen in this team, I think Zinchenko adds a little bit of balance to the midfield. And that front 3 on the counter-attack is pace, direct, and would cause Tottenham a lot of problems. Newcastle on the counter-attack with Jacob Murphy and Alexander Isak, we saw something relatively similar. Martinelli, I think, needs a game to give him huge confidence. He hasn't been himself for probably about a year now, I would say. He looks a shadow of the player we saw a couple of years ago where he got 15 league goals. I think Raheem Sterling will get given his debut. He has a good record against Tottenham. He has played in a false 9 system at Manchester City, and Bukayo Saka. That midfield, I've kind of put Havertz in the number 10. This is obviously assuming that Martin Odegaard will be out against Tottenham. And then against Atalanta, I imagine Leandro Trossard would come in for Gabriel Martinelli. Declan Rice would come in for Zinchenko. But I don't personally believe that Arsenal are going to play the same team against Atalanta as against Manchester City. You are going to see plenty of rotation in and around this Arsenal team. And there is a huge midfield crisis. I'm not going to lie. Mikel Merino out until October with a shoulder injury. If this injury is bad on Martin Odegaard, he's going to be assessed later today. If it comes out that he hypothetically is out for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, we don't know. It's a sprain on his ankle. And you look at the fixtures Arsenal have got coming up, the fixtures aren't kind. You know, they've got PSG, Manchester City, Tottenham, and Atalanta all in the next 3 or 4 weeks or so. It's not the best set of fixtures. They could quite easily beat Bolton, Leicester, Southampton comfortably. But if there's no Martin Odegaard for Tottenham, Atalanta, and City, if Manchester City beat Brentford and then beat Arsenal, and Arsenal don't get a positive result against Tottenham, they could be 5 or 6 points behind already. Now, you don't want to be behind this Manchester City side. And what Arsenal have experienced has been incredibly unfortunate if Martin Odegaard is out for a long period of time. But, we've seen things before where players have come back on crutches and then all of a sudden they are they're back fit for games. So, who knows? The Norway manager come out and said it looked a painful one in the dressing room. This is from AFC stuff from Stal Solbakarken. I've probably butchered that. It looked a painful one in the dressing room. We know it was an ankle sprain. Those who have played football know with luck it can turn out okay. But if the ligaments aren't torn, I'm sure Arteta won't call me to praise me. If the ligaments are torn, then it could be a completely different story. But do Arsenal set up with Zinchenko in midfield? You've also got Ricardo Calafiori picked up a knock. He was brought back early as well. It's not the best of the best of weeks for Arsenal. It's going to be a very interesting North London derby. Just some transfer news regarding Arsenal from AFC stuff. It says, I've been told Alexander Isak will be very, very, very high on Arsenal's list. He's definitely someone I expect them to revisit next summer if Newcastle don't get Europe. You'd imagine he'd be angling for a move. We'll talk transfers another day, but does that team set up with enough defensively? I think they're going to be absolutely fine. And this is the news on Calafiori. Ricardo Calafiori is nursing a knock. However, it is not serious. Arsenal didn't want the player to take any risk and will now return to London early to be assessed by the club. But the team I've set up with Zinchenko in midfield, I think Tottenham are going to look at this as if Arsenal are a wounded animal. Of course, Tottenham didn't have the best of results against Newcastle. And let's be honest, if we lose to Arsenal, it will be the pressure will start to mount on Ange Postecoglou. But also, if Arsenal don't get a positive result against Tottenham, the pressure would seriously mount going into that Manchester City game, because Arsenal and Manchester City are at a point now where you have to win every single game. There is no if, buts, or maybes. You have to win every single game. 1 point dropped can be absolutely catastrophic. And as it stands in the Premier League, Arsenal are already 2 points behind Manchester City and Liverpool. And speaking of Liverpool, they aren't slowing down either. They haven't even conceded a goal in the Premiership yet. But I think that team right there has enough to get past Tottenham. But then again, I actually think Tottenham will get a positive result in this game. You look at the league table, it's 2 points separating Arsenal and Brighton to Liverpool and Manchester City. Now, Arsenal have scored 4 goals less than City, and they've scored 2 goals less than Liverpool. Now, City haven't really played. They have played Chelsea, but they comfortably blew them away. Liverpool comfortably blew Man United away. Arsenal have played Villa, Wolves, and obviously Brighton. Going into this Premier League weekend, I do fancy Liverpool and Manchester City to win both of their games. I'm going to be brutally honest with Liverpool. You look at Liverpool's next 4 games. If you look at their next 6, other than a trip to Milan, I think they win every single match. You know, they've got 4 out of the next 6 games are at Anfield. You know, they are a very strong side at the moment, and Arne Slot has got them playing some fantastic stuff. But we'll have to wait and see what happens with regards to the Martin Odegaard news. If he is out injured, it could be a long day at the office. There's no Declan Rice. Do Spurs become favourites? I don't know. There's a lot of mixed reports out on the socials right now in terms of Tottenham. Hopefully, will have Dominic Solanke back from injury, which will be a huge boost for us. So let us know your thoughts down below with regards to the North London derby. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you have subscribed, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for watching. I am out.